Hello everybody, Reggie Time here, and we're doing a new format of video today just to see what you guys think of it. I recorded a short session last night that I played on Sky Poker and just put timestamps down for hands that I thought might be interesting to look at again. I haven't reviewed them since then. I want to see them kind of with a fresh pair of eyes, so some of them might not be quite as interesting on the second look through, but I guess we'll soon see. If you enjoy the video or enjoy my content in general, please do hit the thumbs up button. They really do help the videos do well. Add a comment in the content, join the Facebook group if you're not a complete fucking idiot, and yeah, please do share as well. So get straight on with it. I've already skipped to the first hand. It's this King 10 suited hand, and in this hand we're going to be up against pretty damn good regular in Baller. He's made some pretty good progress lately. He was playing 10-0 not very long ago, and now he seems to be playing 20 and 30 and a lot, and I think he's shot in 52, so good luck to him. Seems like a decent guy too, so yeah. Let's see how the hand plays out. We open King 10 suited in the cutoff, and we kind of just break out on the flop. We got backdoor flush draw and two overcards, chips or tools, a bit of a nutter. He got a bit wild later in the session, but at this point he seemed to be relatively calm. We could see better here. We've got like one overcard, backdoor straight, backdoor flush draw, but I think versus two opponents, I think it's maybe just a touch ambitious, so I elected to go for the check if we recall correctly. Baller checked back, and then we go to a turn, which is a pretty damn good card for us. I think Baller pretty much always bets a queen here. If he has a queen, if he has a set, he certainly bets them. So I'm not too worried that Baller's got anything super strong here. If chips or two leads out, we can either go for a bluff or a semi-bluff raise, or we can call depending on his sizing. If he checks to us, then we're going to bet for sure. He does check, and we go with a pretty chunky bet, which I think is fine. If Baller or chips or two do have hands like pocket sixes, pocket sevens, etc., we're going to be putting maximum pressure on them where we can. I'm not firing this bet with that's it, it's all over, because I expect them to like call maybe once with pocket eight. Certainly, maybe not Baller, but certainly chips or two if he's got any pair. I don't expect him to fold to his one barrel, so I was thoroughly planning on double barreling here unless something happens to dissuade me from that, i.e. like a pretty bad river card or if either of these guys raise, or if we get called and then chips or two donks or something. But the plan was, if everything went normally, to like pretty much bomb most rivers to either when they hit or when they don't hit. All the calls. The river's a complete brick. Again, I think we can put maximum pressure on his middle pairs here. I shouldn't have too much Queen X in my range, to be completely honest, because I'm going to c-bet most of them. I mean, I guess if I had stuff like Queen 10, Queen 9, I maybe wouldn't always c-bet those. So we can have some queens, we can definitely have lots of strong jacks, but maybe with the sizing that I choose, I kind of polarised myself on the river. I think I went for quite a big size. Oh no, not too big bad looks of things, unless we go up at the end. No, so it looks like we're going to elect on 480, which I think I'd probably rather Simcell go a little bit bigger. From memory, I thought I went to like pretty much full pot almost. I think this bet's, it depends what part of his range we're targeting, I guess, doesn't it? If we're trying to get like pocket 8s, pocket 9s, jack X to fold, I think it's probably okay. But I think I'd rather Simcell go bigger. I'd much rather Simcell go full pot, then maybe even slightly over pot. Because I think Baller's, he's going to have a one pair hand a lot of the time. Maybe just some draws that have missed. Not very often, I don't think, but maybe he's picked up diamonds. He's got a hand like 10-9 of diamonds or 10-9 of anything. I'm not entirely sure, but I think, yeah, I'd rather Simcell go with a bigger sizing. I think it allows him to bluff catch that size just a little bit more effective. Not massively, it's still a pretty big bet. It's still like 5-6 pot or whatever. But I think I'd probably rather Simcell go with an even bigger bet, just to put maximum pressure on like anything that is worse than the queen. we did go with it. He called us pretty quickly, and we obviously lost. He turned it with ace jack. Yeah, that's completely fine. Don't blame him there. I think we both played the hand fine. He just happened to win it. So that was the first hand. Let's go on to the next one. So this second hand's going to be on table 1, where we have 2 sevens, and we open up in middle position. H. Hamza calls, who's in my opinion not a particularly good regular. I think he wins in the games, but only just. I think well, I don't want to say too much because I play him all the time, but needless to say, I don't think I think his game selection needs work to begin with. But yeah, I don't rate his game anyways. So we flop a set. Very dry board. We lead out for a smallish, which we would want to be doing with like a lot of our range on these like really dry board textures. It's a bit more difficult out of position. You know, people just fold more to you when they don't have anything out. We've open middle position with C-bet on a very dry board. I don't expect him to get a ton of folds here. You know, he's not going to fold any pocket pair. He's probably going to float his overcards, etc. So I think we're going to get enough calls here. I mean, we could check, I guess, because the board's so dry, but there are some draws out there, some gut shots and what have you. I guess betting or checking's fine, but I think I like betting small best. Which is what we did. He calls, if I remember correctly. And then like a 9 of spades comes on the turn, and this is where I can go 2 ways. We can just barrel here for pure value, of course, but it doesn't give him chance to execute any of his floats if he has been floating us on the flop. Doesn't give him chance to he just makes him fold all of those things. And again, without giving too much away, this guy can be quite aggressive. But if I think of a bet, I don't think he's going to bluff raise. So I elected, this is something I certainly wouldn't do this against a fish. You can do it against some regulars though sometimes. When we see bet dry boards and then, I think we're going to be checking a lot of turns really. Most of our range is going to want to check, well not most, but a lot of our range are going to want to check here. The only hands that are going to continue betting really are over pairs. Any weird straights we have that I don't really have many. 6-8 isn't really in my middle position opening range. So we don't really have straights here. We have like sets and over pairs, and that's about it. He can have like a ton of floats, or just some made hands that he's going to bet when we check to him, like ace 10, king 10, queen 10, all those types of things. Basically, I kind of thought if I check here, he's going to bet with an incredibly high frequency, and we get a chance to get a raise in on a board that could go a bit sour. There's lots of rivers that we just like bet 240 here or 270. He calls with like any 6, any jack, any spade. There's like lots of shitty rivers that it's going to leave us in a weird spot. And I just thought we could get a check raise in here. It's a good spot to get a check raise in. I'm going to, sometimes if I've got a hand like an ace jack of spades, ace queen of spades, I might sometimes want to check here, sometimes get a free card if he doesn't bet, sometimes get to get a raise in. So there are going to be some draws I'm going to want to bet here, so we check raise with here, and some made hands too. It's just how I play. I'm not saying it's how you should play, but I like to get some turn check raises in, and this type of hand and my like turned draws are going to be the types of hands that I'm going to want to do it with. Not really going to do it with air very often. So we did check. As expected, he came in with like an absolute boomer of a pot size bet. And, you know, obviously there's ways we can be beat here. But we're just never folding. It's a matter, do we just call and then look to like maybe check raise some safe rivers, or do we just check raise now? And I thought with him potting it, I kind of thought he was maybe pretty strong here. Maybe he has a weaker overpair. Maybe he has like an ace 10 that's scared. Who knows what? Maybe he's got like a queen jack type hand that he's floated with. I wasn't sure, but when he uses that sizing, I thought, yeah, it's pretty strong here. So didn't take me long to figure out that I wanted to raise. Did go for the raise, and after a short while we got the fold, so yeah, that hand worked out okay. It's always nice to get a check raising sometimes against players who maybe sometimes think they can run you over. It's nice now and again just to give them a tap on the nose and say, you know what, you can't always just do that to me. So this next hand's on table 1 again. It's the same table all 3 hands have been at so far. We're in a pot with chips O'Toole. We raise. Chips O'Toole calls. And Kieran Bro calls too. And we get in a situation where typically I think we have a hand here that's either going to be like a really weak c-bet or maybe a check call. There's sometimes a check fold, I guess. And Chips O'Toole, you'll see in a moment, I checked my notes on him. He just bets like such a wide array of hands here and barrels so aggressively. This is a spot where I'm just going to give up, and lots of you guys won't give up. So I just wanted to show this hand as, like, you know, sometimes it's like even though you're up against a bad player who's aggressive and you think you've got an edge on, sometimes you just have to give up because the situation is just going to get too difficult. I didn't have a plan here. Yeah, we could check call flop because we might have the best hand, but up against players that aren't going to make like easy on later streaks. It's like, what do we do here? Do we like try and battle with him and try and get our 6 to showdown by like hero calling? Because this guy can just wake up and he can just have nothing here. I'm not sure if there's a hand in the video, but he just randomly 3-betters at some point last night with 6 board offsuit and then fired out a pot size c-bet on like whatever queen high board or something. So the guy, you know, he goes through spells. I mean, I think when he starts his session, I think he tries to be sensible, and if things don't go his way, I think he just goes full nutty mode. Or if things go his way, he goes full nutty mode. I don't think he's got a great deal of patience. But either way up, it's just like, is this really the type of hand that we want to try and get to showdown with against someone like him? I mean, we do want to try and get to showdown, but do we want to pay a lot of money to get to showdown? And there's not much to talk about here because we just ended up check folding. But yeah, I think it's a spot where against some passive type players, I think we can bet there sometimes just to deny equity and just try and take the pot down there and then. But yeah, I think it's a spot where some of you guys might find it difficult where you're up against like a bad aggressive players, you're out of position to them, and you've got a kind of marginal hand like this. I know a lot of guys come to me like, I just don't know how to play this situation. And for me, the easiest way to play is just keep it simple. You know, the guy's going to make life difficult for you. He's got position on you. He's going to like be putting multiple bets in across the streets. And I think, really, what do you want to do here? What's your plan for the hand? If your plan is to call and just call down and save one outs, then you've got to execute it. If your plan is call and then give up on turns and rivers, then against this guy, it's a bad plan. So I elected that I didn't really want to like have to call 2 or 3 streets with this hand, so he selected to check fold, and that's what we ended up doing. And we may well be folding the best hand here. You know, in fact, a good amount of the time we're probably folding the best hand, but getting it to showdown is going to be damned expensive. As you can think, we check the notes now. Look, their bluffs incessantly, overplays marginal made hands too. So it's not even that he's like just bluffing incessantly so we can call down with our bluff catchers. Because it'll be like he'll triple barrel here with like 7x sometimes, maybe even do it with 4x sometimes. You know, he's just betting all kinds of things. And I just basically looked at the spot and thought, I don't want to be calling more than one street here, and this guy's going to put me to that test more often than not. So I just elected to go ahead and fold the hand and just move on with the session. Okay, so here's the next one. We're over on table 3 again over here. We have 2 jacks in the hole, and Conga has raised to pot under the gun, which is his usual sizing. Again, I'm not going to go into too many reads on Conga, but you could tell by his tag that I'm not a huge fan of his game. Chips O'Toole is going to be in this pot, and Kieran Bro's going to be in this pot too. And Chips O'Toole does his usual thing and 3-bets to 360. And I'm loving it with jacks at the moment. I'm thinking, cool, we just get to put a cold 4-bet in here. We hope Conga gets out of the way, because if we cold 4-bet and Conga jams, then jacks are fucked. So the plan was going to be here to like cold 4-bet to like, I don't know, £8 something, and fold versus Conga, sadly, and just fist pump get it in against Chips O'Toole. That was the plan for the hand. Kieran Bro puts a spoke in that wheel by just smooth calling, and straight away I'm thinking Kieran Bro he's just got aces or kings. It's pretty much as simple as that usually. Because I would, any reg worth the salt. You got Chips O'Toole, who's been 3-betting like crazy. He c-bets like crazy. The man's just a grade A nutter. If you've got like aces, kings, queens here, just calling, in my opinion, is easily the best plan. And then just like check, raise any flop, get it in, don't care. That's the plan against Chips O'Toole. He'll just like donate a stack to you if he gets any piece of the flop. So when he just calls, I'm like, well, Kieran's, I think he's a good player, and I think he's going to have an awful lot of like premium pairs here, like super primo. Like I think queens is the bottom of his range, kings, aces. I think ace king pre is just. I think ace king just like cold 4-bets pre, because he kind of wants to see all 5 cards, doesn't it? So I think he's more likely to like cold 4-bet ace king, ace queen, stuff like that, and just flat with his premiums. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking a good player would do, and I think Kieran's probably a good player. So it was in a tough spot, because all of a sudden I'm like, shit, we're in trouble here now. And I was never close to folding pre-flop, to be honest with you. I mean, we can't be. But it made me nervous. I'd gone from like wanting to 4-bet, get it in, to are we in set mine territory here, or are we in let's get a low board and see what Kieran does, because we have like decent relative position on Kieran. We know what's going to happen on the flop. We're going to call, Kieran's going to check, we're going to check, Chips is going to bet, and then we can make our decision based on whatever Kieran does. If Kieran gets out of the way, then we just get the money in. If Kieran doesn't get out of the way, then then it's time to maybe start running away. So that was the plan there. It's always nice to have a plan, so we do just put the call in. Conga ships it, then we're just going to fold. Conga does fold, and we get like a dream flop. So we stick to the plan. Kieran checks as we expected. We check. Chips O'Toole goes his bet, and at this point I'm thinking, right, Kieran, you fold, we jam, and that's it. It's just the easiest hand in the history of the world. Then Kieran calls, and I think at this point we're drawing dead, or close to drawing dead. You know, we've got 2 outs to the nuts, but I just think Kieran's just way going to have a better hand than us way more often than not here. I mean, it's a stretch to think he's got pocket 10s or pocket 9s. It's a real stretch. I don't think he calls pre with those hands. Maybe he does. I don't think he check calls this bet size, not closing the action though, when we can absolutely have like kings, queens, aces and stuff too, and jacks. So I just folded, and I was like kind of started thinking, kind of typing that in just to remind myself that I think Kieran's had the same idea that I've had, which is just call pre-flop and then slow play, and like try and trap him post-flop. Interesting that he just calls rather than jams. I mean, maybe he just thinks we've got some. I don't even know. Don't know why he just calls instead of jams. Maybe he just thinks we're going to fold pretty much everything, and he's going to just check call all in against chips on the turn. I'm not entirely sure, but I like his line if he does have those hands. And we eventually just like silent fold. 8 comes on the turn. Kieran checks again. Chips doesn't go all in, which is surprising. Even though himself 13 behind. Kieran does it for him. By now we're loving it. We're thinking, cool, we just played the hand like a fucking genius. If only we could have got the fold in pre. But never mind. I'm really happy with the outcome of this hand. Even though we lost money, I think I did really well, and I read the situation pretty much close to perfectly. Other than Chips turning up with the aces. So there you go. I was just worried about Kieran. I wasn't remotely worried about Chips. And to be frank, if Kieran hadn't gone broke there, I most certainly would have. Chips was getting paid there no matter what. He can consider himself slightly unlucky not to get paid by both of us, given the action that he is. But yeah, pretty pleased with that. Pretty pleased that we managed to get away, losing the minimum, which is always nice. On to the next hand on table 2, we open King 10 suited in the cutoff, which is obviously a fine open. Kev Boy comes along for the call, as Kev Boy typically does, and so does Miller. And we get a flop we're just giving up on. Who gives a shit? We've completely break. We're up against 2 really bad players, and we're done with it. So we just check. Kev Boy normally bets in these spots, usually quite small, but he didn't. He checked. We hit the king on the turn. Now I think we're good, or a good, at least decent amount of the time when we can certainly get value for our hand. So I go ahead and like a reasonable bet size. You know, we're going to get caught by some worse kings, flush draws, straight draws, etc. Boy folds, and Miller eventually comes along for the call. Takes his time. And then donks this river. And where is it? Well, we're just in bluff catcher territory here. I'd much rather bluff catch here against a green or a blue tag player than I would against a regular. I think regular's just going to have it more often than not here. Whereas non-regular players like Miller, they can have a lot of... I mean, yeah, he can have a 7. He can absolutely have a 7. He can absolutely have a flush. But he can also just have a hell of a lot of misdraws, 6x, 9x. Clubs, etc, etc, and I just think it's one of those spots we don't like paying off. I preach to people time and time again, don't pay off in the micro stakes, but I mean, this is just a time where I think we just need to. There's so many draws we've missed. Just like the 7 is one of the best rivers we could hope to see, in terms of like, it shouldn't change that much. If we're ahead in the turn, we're probably still ahead now. The only thing that's improved past us is like his 7x, and that's it. So yeah, but no one likes paying off with just one pair on the river, especially one pair moderate kicker. But I think this is a good time to do it. I'm not sure if you guys agree or not. I'll put more thought into it than perhaps I should. I think it's a bit of a nit roll, this, really, by me. We eventually call, and he shows us the flop straight flush, so fair play to him. It doesn't, losing those pots don't bother me at all. I actually quite like it for the fish. I think it's nice for them. I'd rather have won the pot, of course, but if we're going to lose those pots, let's lose them to the fish. Let's lose them to the green tag players, and keep them happy, keep them in the game. So here's going to be what is the last hand of the video. We wake up with 2 queens in the big blind. BA14, who... yeah, this was Jack abusing me in the chat box, claiming that I'd said something about him, used a word that I would never use. Anyways, ignore the chat, it's just nonsense. It's just Jack being a dick, but whatever. Yeah, so we have 2 queens. Rab calls. We should absolutely squeeze here. I think the sizing's on the small side. I think we can go bigger against fish, but we get what we want, really. We get the fold from under the gun. We don't necessarily want the fold from under the gun, but we're happy that when he folds, as long as he gets some action from Rab. And we flop a pretty marginal flop. You know, we don't like to see the ace, but at the same time we've got the heart, so if he does have an ace, then hopefully we've got some equity against him. It's a flop we're never going to see bet. There's just no reason to see bet. If we're ahead, then we're going to stay ahead most of the time. If we're behind, then you know he's not going to fold anything that we're behind to. So really easy check back. Turn bricks off and he like instantly bets. We can't fold at this point, you know. We can't check back that flop and fold to someone like Rab. Rab's very aggressive, or he can be very aggressive. He plays like really wide ranges, and with all due respect, he's just not very good. And then you back bench him. We just snap call, because what can we do there? There's no point slow rolling him. It's either, you know, it is what it is. If he's got an ace, then good for Rab. He's going to double up. But he's just going to have so many like weird things too, because it's just what Rab does. You know, Rab's just like, I mean, does he bet if he doesn't hit the heart on the jack on the river? Probably. You know, because the jack shouldn't improve him that much. I don't think he's value betting his jack there. I just think he's betting trying to win the pot, and I think he's just desperately trying to win the pot by going all in. And yeah, it's just one of those spots. Not much of a hand, really. It's not really exciting. But I just thought we'd shown one bluff catch with the 9-6 suited, where it looks like, what the fuck are you doing calling there with the bluff catcher? But again, it just goes to show that, especially these guys who were like blue or green tagged, who maybe haven't put too much thought into their games, you just have to have a hand and just call them down sometimes. The King 10 didn't work out. The pocket queens here did. And it swings and roundabouts, but as long as you're not doing this against regulars very often, because if you're always paying regulars off on the river, then in my opinion they don't bluff enough, and you're going to get yourself in all kinds of trouble and going to lose quite a lot of money by paying regulars off. But by paying fish off in spots, sometimes where you just need to, because it's one of the best hands you can have, like the King 10 and this. I mean, this is one of the best hands we're going to have here. The Queens and Kings are effectively the same thing. If we're going to be folding this to people who kind of an overly aggressive post, we're going to be folding too often. So yeah, just sort of put this hand in to balance out the. I don't think it's a very interesting hand, but it balances out the hand where the guy had the straight flush and we paid him off. Just to say, yeah, we shouldn't be paying off often in these games, but against the right players, we need to be calling possibly with wider ranges than we do against better players. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video. I enjoyed the format. I like it, so I hope some of you guys do too, because it's something I do quite easily and it helps me. You look back at my hands, I can just like set OBS running at the start of a session, not worry about it, just mark the timing of the hands down, and maybe do two or three of these a week quite easily. So if you have liked it and you've got to the end, please do hit the thumbs up, please do hit the share, and leave a comment to say that you enjoyed it, because getting feedback on what people like and what they don't like is really quite important to me. I don't want to just produce stuff people aren't liking. I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but if I have been your cup of tea in the past and you like this format, please do let me know and we'll try and do some more of them. Have a good weekend everybody, and bye bye for now.